Welcome to Broncos and Parts Garage. My name's Chris. Today we're going to go over the three common repairs for the 1992 through 1996 Ford Bronco instrument cluster bezel. These repairs will also work on the F-Series trucks. The first common problem is the front mounting hole. These get ripped off the dash because people forget to move the trim piece on the inside. The second repair will be the three mounting pins that are found on the top of the bezel. I'm going to show you how to repair those. It's very simple. And the third repair is the mounting bosses for the switches, which is right here and right here. Those are commonly very fragile, brittle, and they break off just about as soon as you try to swap out a switch. So stick around and let's get started. First things first, I like to clean the bezel off. I like using a watered down simple green solution. It's non-toxic, it doesn't stink, and it doesn't seem to stain the bezel. This one's been washed already. The first repair we're going to complete are the front trim holes. As you can see, this one's busted out and the other side's busted out. There should be just small screw holes there. People pull the bezels off and bust these. So the first thing we're going to do is flip the bezel over, and we're going to tape a couple pieces of cardboard and tape it over the back side of these holes. I use tape and a little bit of aluminum foil to hold them in place. That way when you put the JB Weld on the front, which we will be doing, it keeps it just from falling out the back side. I like to use aluminum foil as well because sometimes the tape doesn't stick, but the aluminum foil can be smashed down and kind of molded around the opening. And you want to flip the part back over, and you want to tape off the area around the trim opening because the JB Weld will stain the plastic. And when I say that, I'm talking about this edge right here. You don't want JB Weld touching that because any chemicals you use to remove the JB Weld will then stain the bezel. I like to use the green painter's tape. It seems to work the best. You can probably use whatever tape you'd like. I know I'm not the first person to come up with this repair, but it took me a long time to find a video on this. So I figured I'd make a new one and upload it to the channel to help everybody out. So there you have it. We have the back side sealed up right now with some cardboard and aluminum foil. The front side taped off to protect the black finish. The next thing I'm going to do is put on a pair of gloves. I'm going to mix up the JB Weld, which what I use here is the JB Water Weld. I don't know if I can get that in focus. This stuff's for plastic. It works really good. It sets really fast. And we'll use this twice on two of the repairs. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the JB Weld, we're going to tear off a piece, we're going to knead it into a small little ball, and then we're going to press it into the opening right here. We're basically just going to fill up the void, holding the cardboard with our opposite hand. Fill the void up with JB Weld. When that solidifies, we're going to be able to just drill a hole through the center of it, and that will be your new mounting platform. In other words, you'll just put your normal dash screw and possibly a small washer through the hole in the JB Weld into the mounting boss on your dashboard. It's very simple. We'll take the JB Weld. You gotta wear gloves, guys and gals. This stuff's really messy and it really stains. You want to mix it up. There's a gray center. I'm guessing that's the adhesive or the substrate, and then there's a hardener in the middle. I'm not sure, but you give it a good mix. And I'm going to tear this chunk in half, and I'm going to use half at a time, but right now it's a ball about the diameter of maybe a quarter, not too big. I'm going to tear some off, set it aside real quick. And I'm going to try not to touch the bezel with the gloves, because then you're just going to mess it up. So I'm going to grab the back side of it. I'm going to press on the cardboard back here, and then I'm just going to press this into this hole. Give it a nice firm push with your finger. Tuck any extra you have down in there as hard as you can. You kind of want to keep this stuff flush. And this one is pretty flush. And that's it. So then we'll take the other side. I might not have enough for this side. There's a little bit left. Again, don't touch the top of the bezel where anyone's going to see it, because this stuff on your gloves will stain the bezel. So I'll grab it from behind. Again, I'll put my fingers behind the cardboard just to reinforce it, and then I'll pack this JB Weld in the hole. Now this one's going to be a little shallower, so I'm going to mix up another little piece. Not too much. Again, kind of got to work quick. This stuff only stays soft for a few minutes. It starts to warm up and solidify. So, again, don't touch the bezel where you're going to see it. Grab it from the back side and press the JB Weld into the opening. Take your gloves off, and that repair is almost done. And that's the end result. All you're doing is plugging those holes. That will solidify. You'll drill a hole through it. And you have brand new mounting points. Again, one more view after you take off the surrounding tape. You're just plugging those holes. It should be flush. If there's any high points, take a piece of cardboard or a screwdriver and just scrape off any high points. But that's it for this repair for right now. What I've done now is grab another Bronco bezel while the JB Weld in the other unit dries. And I'm going to show you how to repair the 3 mounting pins that are located at the top of each bezel. These are commonly broken off, and they usually remain in the dash of the truck. They're just little little metal clips like you see here. Okay? And there's a little plastic tab on the inside of them. Once they break off, you have to just take a flathead screwdriver and pry inside here. This one probably won't come out right. Pry inside until the little piece of plastic like this comes out. Now you've got a hole in the bottom of this clip for a screw to go through. This is the screw you're going to use right here and right here. So all you're going to do is make a mechanical connection with this screw through the bottom of this clip, and you're actually going to attach it back to the hole in the bezel that was left behind when the pin broke. Now, these come clipped together, these spring clips. These spring clips come clipped together. So you need to separate these two pieces. You need to make it so they basically go like this and pull apart. Okay? So what I do is just simply take a flathead screwdriver, put it in between the two pieces, and then kind of pound down on the screwdriver till you pop the metal tabs apart. You hear a pop. Now the clips have come apart. Just like that. Sometimes there's a little metal tab left over on the inside. So take a tiny little pair of wire snips and you can cut that little tab right off. That way the two pieces come back That way the two pieces come back together flush. I'm sorry if you can't see this as well. I know it's black on black. So you've got your clip now. There's a hole in the bottom of the clip. You take the small screw, you drop it in the hole, just like this. So now you've got the trim piece, or excuse me, the clip with a screw in it. Take the narrowest Phillips screwdriver that you have, slide it in between the two parts of the clip. It'll bend it apart a little bit. I'm going to show you this as soon as I get it in here. So basically you have something that looks like this. You're pulling that apart. And now you simply take the screw and screw it into the hole in the bezel that was left behind when the clip broke. Don't go crazy tightening it up. Get it situated. Tighten it up. You don't want to split that boss. Pull that out and the clip will now close and you have reattached. Let me see if you get a better angle on that. You've got the clip right here and it's been reattached. So now it's back part of the bezel. It'll actually fit in the mounting hole that's built into the dash. And I'm going to repeat that for the other three, but I'll do that off camera. Okay, the third and final repair is the mounting boss repair. If you've ever taken one of these switches off, you'll know that these tend to crack or crumble immediately, especially around the window switch. For some reason they dry up. This is 25, 26-year-old plastic. Sometimes the four-wheel drive bosses crack as well, but we're going to focus on these bosses right here. So what I've got here, I cleaned it with alcohol already. I've got my gloves on. I cleaned up the switch a little bit. I've got a kind of a dirty, dusty rear window switch right here. So I'm just going to set that down. Again, we're going to take the JB Weld out. So in this instance, all we're doing is we're just going to make a boss or a perch for that to sit on. So again, we're going to get back into mixing this JB Weld and mix it up really good. Just make sure you're wearing gloves. I've done this before without gloves and it's really messy. Hopefully you never have to use this video for anything, but I sell quite a few bezels because I know a lot of people either don't know how or don't want to repair these, but when they see how easy it is, might be able to save people a lot of money. So we'll mix this up and I'm gonna mix this up with my fingers. It's still very tacky, so I'm gonna shut the camera off and I'm gonna let this get a little bit firmer before I move forward. Okay, I'm back. I've given the JB Weld just a few minutes to get a little bit more less tacky, let's call it. So what we're going to do is, it's very simple. We're just going to take the JB Weld, kind of make it into, I guess what I would call a square shape, just knead it back and forth with your fingers, and press it over the broken boss. In this case, the boss on the bottom of the bezel was the broken one, so we're just going to kind of squish the JB Weld into place and make sure it's got a nice high point and flat. The next thing we're going to do is going to take the switch right side up and we're going to make sure that there's no JB Weld. We're going to make sure that there's no JB Weld coming out of the hole. We're going to take the switch right here, make sure we got the orientation correct with the rear window obviously on the top, and then we're going to press that switch into place as if it was mounted, squeezing the JB Weld. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but what I've done is press the switch down exactly where it would be. So if you look on the back side, it's now right where it needs to be. Once you've made the impression in the JB Weld, you just want to gently remove the switch before the JB Weld hardens completely. What you're left with is basically a casting of a new boss. Now it looks just like a big ball of JB Weld, but what you have here is something that when it dries you can lay your switch back in place, screw the top hole, drill a small little pilot hole in the JB Weld, and then simply screw that switch back into place. And I will show you that as soon as this stuff dries. I've grabbed the other bezel. The JB Weld is still drying. It's very humid right now in Detroit. It's been raining all day. So I'm going to give it some more time before we drill the final holes through the JB Weld. In the meantime, a lot of people want to detail their HVAC vents, or if you need to swap them out, they get pretty dirty behind there. So if you're not familiar with the removal process, you need a very thin flathead screwdriver, and you simply grab the vent by one of the vanes. I would not grab the side-to-side vent. You don't want to mess up the gearbox. You just simply take a flathead screwdriver, gently pry it in between the vent and the bezel, and then slowly just lift up, and they pop right out. There's little clips on either side right here, and there's some clips right there. Now you can clean these up. You can use, I like to use this stuff after I clean it. I use trim shine on it, get them nice and black, and you can clean out the inside of this HVAC hole that's usually full of dust and grime. To put it back in, it's very simple. After you've cleaned it or painted or done whatever you've done to it, make sure the orientation's correct, and you really just put it in, slide it in, it locks back in. Very simple. Okay. I'm back, and the JB Weld has set in these screw pockets. I guess that's what we'll call them now. So what I'm going to do is go around back. I took the foil off already. I'm going to tear off the tape that was keeping the cardboard in place. And you can tear off the cardboard. It doesn't matter if the cardboard stays on there. It's probably going to. As the JB Weld dries, you're tearing off a layer of that cardboard. It's not going to hurt anything. Nothing touches this behind the dash. So that's what you're ended up with, and there's some cardboard on the back right here to let you know that you've done a repair. So all I do now is take my red tool with a, I don't know, I guess it's probably a 1/8 or 3/16 screw bit, or excuse me, drill bit, and go right in the center of these and drill a hole right down the center. From the looks of it, these weren't dry enough yet, but it doesn't matter. Poke around the side of the screw hole with your finger and get some of the JB Weld out of the way. Looks like I could have waited a little bit longer. Now you've got your screw holes drilled into the JB Weld. You can drill the holes even bigger. I would wait till they dry. This wasn't dry enough. Drill them maybe a little bit bigger. You can use a tiny washer. When you're done, your trim doesn't go anywhere near there, and it's hollow on the back side. So when you put your trim in, it locks down, and your repair for the front trim is completely hidden. No one will ever know you did it. You've got a secure, pretty permanent fix. I know they sell little clips on eBay, little plastic clips, but it seems like you get the same problem. Those are 12 or 15 bucks. These JB Weld, this stuff lasts for a long time in a tube, but it's like $6 a tube, and you can repair the whole thing. That's it for this repair. We'll get back to the boss repair, and I've showed you the pin repair already. Let's check out the boss repair now for the rear window switch. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it helped you fix your bezel. I know there's other ways to do it, but this way has worked very well for me in the past. Please feel free to like and subscribe to these videos. Also, share the link to this video to other Facebook forums on Facebook or any other Bronco or F-Series groups online. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again soon.